Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. We'll start with the headlines. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed discusses strengthening cooperation in the defense fields between the Sultanate and the Kingdom of Spain. Investment and commercial opportunities in the Sultanate are tabled at the Omani Saudi Forum in Muscat. The Undersecretary for Fisheries Wealth hopes to sign the rights of benefits contracts this month with the first 3 companies which have obtained commercial registrations to start commercial pisciculture. And the 6th Arab Translation Conference reveals that Arabic idioms do not cover a lot of technological and IT fields. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in details. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty Emperor Akihito of Japan on his birthday. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, today received His Excellency Pedro Moranos Olatay, Minister of Defense of the Kingdom of Spain, who conveyed greetings of the Spanish leadership and best wishes to His Majesty the Sultan, and further success to the government. His Highness welcomed the Minister and his delegation and viewed relations of cooperation between the 2 countries and positive increase it witnesses at all levels stemming from joint keenness to strengthen them at numerous fields. Talks also covered future cooperation between the Sultanate and Spain, besides viewing current situations in regional and international arenas and matters of joint concern. The guest expressed his country's appreciation for the wise policies adopted by the Sultanate under the leadership of His Majesty the Sultan, praising its tangible achievements in development field at domestic level and balanced policies at external level. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harab al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, as well as Juan Jose Otasin, Ambassador of Spain accredited to the Sultanate. The investment climate in the Sultanate, nutrition sector, health services, financial and banking services were highlighted points of discussions at the Omani Saudi Investment and Trade Forum, which was organized in Muscat by the Public Authority for Investment Promotion and Export Development, ITHRA, in cooperation with Bank Muscat. The 2-day conference aimed to introduce investors in Saudi companies to various investment opportunities and available businesses in the Sultanate. It was presided over by His Excellency Yahya bin Saeed bin Abdullah Jabri, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Special Economic Zone Authority in Duqm. The forum also discussed pisciculture, logistics sector, free zones and tourism sector. Non-oil Omani exports witnessed a growth by more than 90% last year, while private sector in both countries wait for positive effects of landline, which connected the Sultanate with Saudi Arabia on commercial and investment exchange between both countries. On the sideline of the forum, His Excellency Dr. Hamad bin Saeed Al-Oufi, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, stated that the fisheries industrial area in Duqm Port has reached the infrastructure designing stage. He indicated that the area will comprise local and foreign investments in fisheries production to be the biggest area of its kind in the Middle East. He also announced that rights of benefit deals will be signed during the coming days with the first 3 companies which got commercial licenses for pisciculture in the Sultanate. He also said they hope to float tenders for 6 ports in 2015 to be constructed in Rakhyut, Sadah, Mirbat, Shwaymiya and Mahut, besides developing other ports to keep along with the maritime movement in the Sultanate. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry organized an introductory seminar about the agreement of free trade between the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and Singapore, coinciding with its enforcement from the 1st of January 2015. It was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Abdul Malik bin Abdullah Al-Hinai, consultant at the Ministry of Finance, chairman of the Omani negotiating team. The seminar introduced Omani exports to Singapore, especially related to petrochemical industries field, which is considered as an input to the existing industries in Singapore, in addition to aluminium and iron industry. It also clarifies industries which can be developed in the Sultanate in cooperation with Singaporean investors, such as the programming industry, financial sector, and other sectors. The agreement also allows Singaporean investors to invest in the Sultanate in a number of industries and services. It also considered as an opportunity for some service sectors in the Sultanate as financial sector for investment in Singapore. The agreement gives the Sultanate preferential treatment to benefit from available opportunities at the Singaporean markets and increase commercial exchange between both countries. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth launched today the mobile veterinary clinics within the context of animal wealth development and in completion of infrastructure of veterinary services in the Sultanate. His Excellency Dr. Fuad bin Jafar Al-Sajwani, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, presided over the launching ceremony. 13 mobile veterinary clinics started rendering veterinary services in the different wilayas of the Sultanate, and 4 more will soon join them. The clinics were equipped with diagnosis, treatment, vaccination, and surgery tools for infected animals. Those clinics will support the other 67 existing clinics. This project aims to convey preventive treatment service as well as guidance to breeders of animal wealth in different villages, mountainous areas, and wadis that are far away from fixed clinics. And still to come in our news bulletin, an introductory program to support students' researches is held in Ibri Applied Sciences College. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Aspects of existing cooperation between the Sultanate and the Kingdom of Spain topped the official session of talks between the two countries. The session was presided over by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harab al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, and His Excellency Dr. Pedro Morales Olatay, Minister of Defense of the Kingdom of Spain. They viewed good relations between the two countries and discussed strengthening cooperation between the Ministries of Defense, as well as exchange points of views regarding matters of mutual concern. Military academic spheres were at the focus of the meeting of Major General Salim bin Musallam Qatan, Commander of National College of Defense, with His Excellency, the Minister of Defense of Spain and his delegation. The guests listened to a briefing on the college and its contents of developed equipment that contribute in achieving the message of the college and its vision for preparing National Command cadres. His Excellency Dr. Pedro Morales Olatay, Minister of Defense of the Kingdom of Spain, visited Sultan's Armed Forces Museum and acquainted with the historical stages of Omani civilization and its international relations throughout history. They also listened to a briefing on development attained by Sultan's Armed Forces during the glorious reign of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. The Board of Governors of the Central Bank of Oman agreed on a request put up by Mohammed Al-Barwani Holding Company to allow it to sell 15.21% from its shares in the capital of Ahli Bank to Omani Fund for Investment and Omani International Company for Development and Investment. That came during the meeting of governors of the Central Bank, during which the general budget of the Central Bank of Oman for the next year was approved, as well as the general budget of the Pension Fund of Employees of the Central Bank, as well as the Fund of Assuring Banking Deposits. The board also discussed procedures adopted regarding finance for small and medium-sized enterprises and size of finance provided by banking sector in the Sultanate to these establishments. The 6th Arab Translation Conference began in Muscat today. The 3-day conference is being organized by the Cultural Club in conjunction with the Arab Organization for Translation and the Arab Translators Union, as well as a number of elite Arab translators and Polyglot Institute Oman. The conference aims to study the theoretical and practical relation between the translation process and the knowledge development in the target language. It also aims to set up a mechanism to come up with a generation of professional translators. Arab translators met to study the latest findings in translation on the Arab countries arena and to discuss most prominent outcomes of translation sciences within the framework of the controversial relationship between translation, knowledge, and development. Translators agreed that many terminologies are not sufficient in IT fields, considering that most techniques are stemming from the West, indicating that there are different words and terms in the Arab countries that are in need of unification. Roles and importance of Shura Council and legal, regulatory and supervisory aspects for Shura Council elections and skills required in the nominated person were the top topics of an introductory workshop organized by the Ministry of Interior. The workshop, which came within the framework of the Ministry's preparation for the 8th period of the Shura Council members' election. 3 work papers were presented, which witnessed a wide activation from the attendees who are willing to nominate themselves for the next period. Within a wide participation of more than 200 employees of the health institutions in the Sultanate, the 3rd Scientific Forum for Health Research reviewed in the Governorate of Dakhiliya a number of researches and studies related to a number of health programs in the Governorate. The forum, which witnessed participation of female and male students from Nizwa University, organized by the Director General of Health Services in the Governorate of Dakhiliya every 2 years. Research is discussed in the forum focused on a number of health topics and indicators, namely mother and child health, safety and medical errors, writing of follow-up reports and evaluating the food intake for dialysis cases. In recognition for the efforts of educationalists and their continuous giving, the Parents' Council in the Wilaya of Muhadha held a ceremony to honor those working in educational field who have completed 25 years. Various artistic shows and poems were presented during the ceremony. It was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Umar bin Saeed al-Marhoon, Minister of Civil Service. Assistance towards a promising incentive was the theme of the Joint Educational Forum for a number of schools in the wilayas of Nakhal and Wadi al-Maawil in the Governorate of South Batna. It sheds light on the most prominent challenges of administrative educational work atmosphere and the role of motivation and encouragement in boosting the level of scholastic performance. It conveyed a number of work papers to promote the efficiency to explore talents, capabilities, which reflect positively in developing the work atmosphere. It comprised plays and visual presentations highlighting the motivational impact on students and educationalists. And at the end, the individuals who have excelled and those who have contributed in the programs were honored. The Photography Society in the Governorate of Dhofar held a ceremony to mark the opening of the 5th exhibition for Omani female photographers. It witnessed the participation from a number of female photographers from some governorates in the Sultanate. It reflects the level of Omani photography in the aspect of artistic taste and proficiency. Ibri Applied Sciences College hosted the introductory program to support student researches, which came within a group of research programs for the Research Council. The program aimed to provide university students with the importance of scientific research and encourage them for research cooperation between academics and students. It will work to enable the students to choose their topics which are suitable with their desires using the scientific methods. It also will contribute in enriching students' knowledge in addition to developing their skills in applying different theories during their research. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning along the governorates of Musandam, North and South Sharqiyya. Winds will be northwesterly to northerly light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate along the western coast of the governorate of Musandam and Dhofar with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. And along the coast of the Sea of Oman, it will be slight to the maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed discusses strengthening cooperation in the defense fields between the Sultanate and the Kingdom of Spain. Investment and commercial opportunities in the Sultanate are tabled at the Omani Saudi Forum in Muscat. The Undersecretary of Fisheries Wealth hopes to sign rights of benefit contracts this month with the first 3 companies which obtained the commercial registration to start commercial pisciculture. And the 6th Arab Translation Conference reveals that Arabic idioms do not cover a lot of technological and IT fields. With that, we come to an end to tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, good night.